Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Josh Kinney, and in this tutorial we'll be discussing how to create a search bar inside of SwiftUI. So let's go ahead and begin. If you look over here at this project I have created, which is just Swift's UI search bar, pretty fitting for this video, I just have the standard hello world that comes with every project you create. But what I want you to do is go ahead and underneath this content view, make an array. I already have it pasted out here, so I'll go ahead and put that there for you. And this is just an emojis for me, and I have 12 of them. You can pause this and copy what I have, or you can create your own array. It does not matter. After you do that, we want to go ahead and get rid of this text down here, and we're going to make an actual list. Inside this list, we're going to do the famous for each. And with the for each, we're going to go ahead inside of the emojis and grab, so you want to do a comma, we want to grab that ID. And if you're not familiar with this, I'll touch on just a minute, but I really want to get to the search bar, so I'll only spend a little bit of time. This self right here is that ID. So basically what it's saying is in an array, you have that, it starts at 0 and just keeps going up. So 0, 1, 2, and so on. This is saying, hey, for that array, whatever this is, use itself. So this would be 0, this would be 1, and so on. And that is how they're actually showing up over here in the list. So right here, do your brackets. And then you need to create a word. I think emoji makes the most sense here, but it can be whatever you want and then put in. So basically, each of these, if you were just going to take one, what would you call it? Since the whole array is emojis, emoji makes sense for just one. But some people get tied up on this that I've noticed, and it doesn't matter what this word is. This could be raisins. This could be grass. It could be anything you want. Try to make it make sense with your code, but don't think that just because I put emoji, that's exactly what it has to be. It could be anything you want. The in, however, is important. You need to make sure it says in at the end, because it's whatever word you say in, and now it's going to look inside this emojis array. So now inside here, we're going to do text, just like we had before. And then inside that text, pass that new word. Mine is emoji, again, whatever word you use there, you want to pass. And you hit resume, and now you're already in 2 lines of code going to see the list of these. Now, one thing you will notice is it's white here and white here. And if you're in dark mode, it would be black and black. You can do a list where you group these together. And the way you do that is just to do a period and then start typing list. You'll see this list style here. And inside there, type in grouped. And you'll get 2 options. You get the inset, and then you get the normal group list style. We're going to do the normal one, initialize that, and you'll see right away that these are now grouped, and you can see the different color out here, so it looks a lot cleaner. Okay, so now let's move over and add a navigation view so we can name or put a title up here. And you do that by going back to this list here. If you hold down Command and then click, you can go to embed, and then this container, just name it navigation view. Okay, from there now you can actually go down here to this, and you'll be able to access that by doing dot navigation title. And then there, name it whatever you want. For my case, I'm going to name it emojis. And then you get this nice clean looking emojis there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look up or continue working on that search bar. All right, so now we want to go ahead and create that search view. So go ahead up here in your project, go to new file, make sure it's a SwiftUI view, and then we're going to name this search view. That'll create that here. Now, before we begin here, we are going to want that search view to be gray if it's in normal mode, but then a little bit darker gray if it's in dark mode. So let's do that real quick. And I'm only doing this as like a little tidbit. You don't have to do this part, but it's nice to understand how to create 2 different colors. So you go in your assets here and you go to color set, and from there make sure this view over here is showing up, but you want to click on this any appearance, which is going to be your lighter view. I like to do the show color panel, and then I like to drag this to wherever I like. So we're going to make this like a light gray, and you can see as you're dragging it there, it's changing colors up here as well. That looks good to me. And then we're going to do a darker gray, almost probably blackish. There we go. Now this color, I like to make it for what we're making it for. So this would be for the search bar. And then that's how you would name that. So I'm going to copy that. But you can name this whatever. You want to name it gray, you want to name it whatever you want to do, that's on you. But I'm going to keep it as search bar so it will reflect what I'm actually using these two colors for. So going back over into the search view here, we are going to begin. So the first thing we want to do is make a ZStack. And then inside this ZStack, we're going to need a rectangle. After you set this rectangle here, make this foreground color what we just talked about. So this rectangle is going to be the search view rectangle. So foreground color, then you want to do a color, and then you want to actually name that. And I copied it, so I'm just going to do a search bar. If I hit resume, you will see it's a the big gray part here is that search bar. So we need to fix that, of course. So now once we do that, let's add in here an HStack. And I mean, first off, if we want to go into the ZStack, we can start the frame and just make the height 40, and then that should look a little bit better for you. Let me just comment that out so you can see. Yeah, that looks a pretty good height for us. And you can see that now is that gray that we set because it's in the normal. If I was to change this to the dark view or dark mode, then that would change more dark. So that's how those colors work. So now let's add an HStack here. And in this HStack, we're going to want an image and then the actual text field. So let's do the image first. And it's going to be of system name. And then since we want, it's a search bar, let's go ahead and just do magnifying glass. Make sure that this glass is not capitalized. I typed that in with a capital G because I'm used to that camel casing and I was stuck on it for a minute. So make sure that this is all lowercase and you'll automatically start seeing that pop up. After that, then we're going to add that text field. And we're going to do inside here search with a space and maybe 3 dots will look good. But now we need to pass in a binding variable because that's what a text field needs. So up here we are going to create that now. So this will be binding. So at binding var, and we're going to make it a text. Let's actually do search text. That sounds more. And then you want to make it of type string. Okay, now down here, let's pass that. So after this search, here we do a comma, and then the text part, we can pass it in with a $sign. That's how you pass in those binding variables. And search text. And now the only error we should get, and I'll make this a little smaller so we can see the code. The only error we should get is right here because we need to pass it in here. So go ahead and hit fix, and then from here just hit dot C, and you'll see this constant. So there you go, and I'm just going to make it an empty string because it's needing some kind of string. So there that is, and I'm going to hit try again, and from there, oh, we're not going to see it yet because we need to change the color. So let's go right here real quick and do a foreground. And then this color, we're just going to do the normal gray. And then right here, we're going to do a dot padding. And that's just going to be the normal padding. So now you're starting to see the search, dot, dot, dot with the search bar. So one more nice little thing that would look good is if this was rounded. And we know probably from past videos, you could do this with a corner radius. So go ahead and do a corner radius. And let's try 13 there. That's looking good. And then finally, since these edges aren't where I really want them to be, you can do this by passing a padding. Now this padding is going to pass it to all of them. You could do a horizontal padding and it just passes to the edges, the horizontal part, but it looks almost the same. So just leaving normal padding looks good to me. So there's that part. Now we need to take this and actually put it in on the normal content view. So the search bar is showing up above the actual list that we have created. So let's look at that. So now let's jump back over to our content view and let's grab this search view now. So first off, we want to go right here in this list. And if you think about it, we have a list. We want the search view to be above it. So if you're stacking it above, it's a vertical or a V-stack. So go ahead and hold down Command and then click on this list. And you can go right here to this embed in V-stack. Once you embed this in now, we're going to change the alignment. So alignment, type, and we're going to do a dot leading. From there, we're now going to pass in above the list the search view that we just created. So search view, and then you want to initialize that, and we need this binding property now, which we don't have here. We created one on the search view. Now we got to create one here. So now we're going to do an actual state variable. We're going to name that search text as well, and then we're going to set that to equal an empty string. So now the state is going to basically be the state of your project. So as someone is typing in the search view, it's going to be updating right here in this variable instantly. Automatically, it's always populating, it's always listening for that. So that's what this at state part is doing. So now we can do the $, and then pass in that search text, and now that's going to be passed in there. So now if you hit try again here, we should be on our way. And I'm going to do a build real quick. Build succeeded, and let's try again. Sometimes you got to try it a couple times still with SwiftUI. I don't know why. It is getting better, but you still got to deal with the glitches. But now you're seeing this search view right here. Now I will say I did go back and change the color. It's great because it was a little too dark even in light mode to kind of match this part. But yeah, I think that's looking really, really smooth. Now let's go to the next step where we're actually setting up the logic. So when you're actually typing in here, you know, it's actually searching for your list here. So let's go ahead and, all right, so now let's handle this search. So the first thing I want to do is create a binding variable that basically tells us when searching has started. So whenever you click in here and start typing, we want this emojis to change from the name of the title to actually searching to tell us that it's happening. And then whenever we're done typing, we're going to have a cancel button, or if the user hits return, then that'll go away. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and connect the actual list to it. So let's go ahead and start. So the first thing we're going to need, I'll X out of that, is a state or another state variable. And we're going to name this searching. And we're going to set this to false to start. So it's going to be a Boolean. So inside of your search view, you need to do the same thing. So we're going to do a binding variable var searching, and we're going to make this a type bool. And then now we need to think about, well, let's fix this real quick, and then we'll do, oops, we'll make this false. Now we need to think about how to actually do this. So inside this text field, how are we going to be alerted that this has been someone started texting? So the way you do this is do your brackets there, and you need to make a word, kind of like we did emojis earlier in the content view, or emoji earlier in the content view, right here, emoji in. And well, we can go and fix this too. So now we have a searching that we just added. So $, and do searching, which is what we just created there. But we need to, instead of emoji, we need to do something inside this. So what I'm going to do, because it makes the most sense, is to name it started searching. Because that's what you're starting to do whenever you click inside the search bar. You're going to start searching. Okay? And then in. Okay, so now inside of here, we need to do an if statement. So if started searching is true, what's going to happen? Well, what's going to happen is with animation, I did it backwards, animation, we're going to set that searching bool up top to equal true. We're going to switch it. Okay. So now whenever you start, hey, if this becomes true from false, then we need to be alerted. So that's how we're being alerted. The next thing, like I said, we're going to have a cancel button, but also if the user hits return or enter, that's going to show that they're done actually typing in that text field. So you can also access that with, and we'll go to the end of this text field here, which is right here, and you can, this is called on commit. And you do of type, then you do your brackets there, and then you just do the same thing. So with animation, and then you're going to set searching to false. So now we're setting it back to false. Okay, now the last thing we need to do is hit save here, go back to your content view and actually call this now. So inside this navigation title, you do searching, and if this is true, we want it to say searching. Okay, if it is false, we want it to say emojis. So now let's build that, make sure it works. Great, now let's hit resume. Here it is. So see how it says emojis up there? As soon as I start typing, so I click, boom, searching, cool, this is cool. And now I hit enter, it goes back because it knows that I'm no longer typing in there. Hit enter, it goes back to emojis. Click on it again, searching, enter, great. So that's awesome. So now let's go ahead and do the next step. So now let's work on adding that cancel button. So right here underneath this navigation title, we can actually add a modifier called toolbar. So you type in toolbar, oops, all one word, no camel case. And then from there, we can do the same thing we kind of did on the other search bar, and we can do if searching is true, then we can add a button. And what will this button say? It'll say cancel. From there, we can say, do some logic. So we're going to do the search text is going to be blank, and then with animation, searching, we're going to turn it to false. Say equals false. Equals false. Now let's look at this real quick. So we'll build, be good. Now let's go over here and resume. Now we'll be able to see the cancel as soon as we start clicking, see? But you won't be able to see an issue we actually have here. So if you hit run and actually do it on a simulator here, you'll see. So whenever you hit searching and our keyboard pops up and we use it, you know, so great. Everything works. If you hit enter, it goes away. However, if you start searching and you want to cancel out of this, it'll cancel out and emojis will go back, but that keyboard is still there. So we need to actually dismiss this keyboard. And there's not a real good way to do it yet in SwiftUI, but you can still use your UI kit to achieve this. So at the very, very bottom here, above your content view preview, we want to go ahead and have an extension of UI application. And then inside here, I'm just going to paste this over. You can pause it and add this function in, and then you can paste it too. And this is not my code. I actually got this off searching, but this will actually dismiss that keyboard for us. So now inside of this over here, where after searching is false, all we have to do is call UI application, and then you can actually access that by doing a .shared .dismiss the keyboard. Perfect. So now let's run this. And then once you type this, you search, hit enter, great. Also, if you type this and you hit cancel, now that keyboard is closing out as well, just like it's supposed to do. Awesome. Moving on to the next one. All right, so now let's go ahead and add the logic for this. So we want, whenever we start searching here, we want it to go through and filter out whatever we start searching. So say happy, we want, if you hit H, everything with an H in it, it's going to be showing. A, anything with the H, A, P, and so on. So I'll show you how to do that. Inside this content view, go ahead and find this list and then that for each. Now we're going to use this exact thing with the ID and passing an emoji in and then doing this text, but it's going to be later. So the easiest way to do this is go ahead and either comment this part out and retype it, or just delete it all the way and then follow along. So we're going to do the for each again, but this time in emoji, we're going to do a dot and look for filter. Whenever you get to this point, go ahead and hit enter again, and you'll see we are needing a string and a string inside of this code. But actually, let me go back one. You'll see right here where we have the throws, we need it to return of type Boolean. So we're going to keep that in mind as well. So right here, do parentheses, and then inside there, we're going to name it the emoji. And then that's going to be of type string because that's what it's needing. And then right here, we're going to return that bool. So it conforms there. And then inside here, we're going to need to do that return. Return. And what are we returning? We're returning the emoji dot has a prefix. And has a prefix is very similar to like a string if you do dot is empty. So it's just looking to see if it has a prefix. Right here, we're going to do that. We're passing that search text. If nothing is there, then we're going to do search text is empty, or is set to an empty string. Okay, just like that. What did I do? So right here, actually, I messed up. This needs to be the finish. So you want to pass in the search text there, and then delete this guy here. Okay, now after these two here, you want to hit a comma, and then we're going to pass in that ID part that we had earlier. So that's self, and then emoji in, and then we're going to do a text, and we're going to pass an emoji. Now let me see if that builds. I messed up somewhere. So let me look at my code. Or search text equals boom boom, that's fine. Oh, no, that's right. Okay, so we're going to return the bool, which we're supposed to do, and now we're going to do our return statement, which will be return the emoji, which is fine. We have our prefix set to search text, which is what we're wanting to search. Or, so if there's nothing there, we're going to set search text to, oh, there needs to be 2 equals. So set that this needs to be equal to this. Okay, so not just once, because we're not setting it to equal an empty string. We're saying, hey, is this equal to an empty string? Which is different. Okay, so that should take care of that. I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit nicer there. And now we're going to go ahead and test this out. So hit build. Should be good there. Now let's go over here, give us some space, and hit resume. And now inside search, we should be able to do H like I said. Now we have 2 H's, A, and only happy is showing. C, we have cool and cold. So if you do CO, you have both of them still, but if you do another O, cold drops out. Same way if you do an L, you have that. So it actually is now filtering through everything. But we do have one issue here. If we go ahead and hit a run on this and actually get in the simulator, earlier we talked about this keyboard that's missing. So when you hit return, it does dismiss. But if you try to search through here, you can see that keyboard still stays there and doesn't dismiss. So we need to fix that as well. So here in this list, you want to go down to the bottom, and we need to add another modifier. And this one is going to be a type gesture. Now with gesture, there's many things you can do, like a long press, but in this one, we're just going to do a drag. So whenever you're dragging it, it's going to be a drag gesture. Okay. From the drag gesture, you want to go ahead and do some logic here, and right here we're going to do what's called an on change. So whenever it's changed, you're going to go ahead and you don't have to name anything here, just do an underscore. But here in this code, we are actually going to do exactly like we did down here. We can actually copy this if you want. Oh, come on. We'll copy that, and then right here, we can paste that. Okay, so now I'm going to do Command A and then Control I to make it all look nice. And then we're going to go ahead and do Command R to run that. And now let's take a look and see if that is now working. So we can search A, great, N, great, C, great. Everything's working, but now let's see if I want to scroll through here. Boom, just like that, that keyboard now goes away as soon as you start dragging it. And that is going to wrap it up here for the search bar working within SwiftUI. Guys, I hope this was very beneficial for you. If it was, give me a like. If you want to see my upcoming content, hit that bell button as that'll notify you. And lastly, if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers I get, the more my content can get out to others and benefit them as well. Thank you so much, and as always, have a wonderful day.